Director John Brennan, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you, Judy.
So the administration, you and others have said that this attack in Istanbul has all the earmarks of an ISIS attack. What are the odds that they can pull off something like that in the United States?
Well, I think that it's much more difficult for them to carry out something like that in the United States. First of all, Turkey's a lot closer to their core, to the Syria-Iraq theater. And there are a lot of steps that they would have to go through in order to be able to carry out something like that, where they have deployed fighters, whether or not these are individuals who came from inside of Syria or Iraq, but they are close to that area. And we have the benefit of an ocean between us, as well as some very, very comprehensive efforts that have been undertaken since 9/11 to help to protect this homeland.
Does the fact, though, that they continue to be able to pull off these kinds of attacks give you any better understanding of what is lacking in either the U.S. approach or the approach of U.S. allies in fighting ISIS?
It gives me better insight into their determination to continue to kill as many innocent men, women, and children as possible. And it also, I think, demonstrates that we really have to be on our guard against all different types of attacks, particularly since individuals who try to carry out these attacks are suicide bombers and shooters. That makes it very difficult for law enforcement and security agencies to be able to stop them from carrying it out. I don't think we're ever going to have a situation where we are immune from this type of violence.
Of course, the core of what's behind so much of ISIS activity has to do with the war in Syria, the civil war going on there that's brought in so many different elements. Secretary of State John Kerry said yesterday that Iran had been helpful in the fight against ISIS. Is that how you see Iran's role there?
Well, I think the Iranians have a vested interest in doing what they can to prevent the growth of ISIS in that area, because ISIS has a very strong anti-Shia dimension to it. So there are some things that the Iranians can do, and even some of the things that the Iranians have done that have helped to inhibit the further growth of ISIS. But there are a lot of things that Iran does that tends to facilitate terrorism, and they still are leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
So on balance, would you say Iran is more helpful in the fight against terrorism or less?
On balance, I think they have to do more. I think they have done some things, but they need to demonstrate their commitment to helping defeat these terrorist organizations and being able to work with regional states, their neighbors, and doing it in a way that is really going to be designed to destroy these organizations.
The attack in Orlando by the young man who said he was inspired or was pledged allegiance to ISIS. There's no direct connection that's been shown yet to ISIS. Is this the new normal for seeing what we call these lone wolf attacks in the United States?
Well, it's certainly one of the more worrisome features of this phenomenon of ISIS, which has been able to use the internet and to exhort and incite individuals to carry out attacks in its name. So there needn't be a direct connection, and unfortunately, as we saw in Orlando, individuals can take it upon themselves, and with the availability of weapons or access to material that can carry out these attacks, this is something that not just the FBI and intelligence agencies are challenged with, it's also the local police communities.
And is intelligence up to this challenge, or are we in a whole new frontier?
This is really, it needs to be almost an all of, not just an all of government, but an all of nation effort, and not just here in the United States, but other places as well.
Does that necessarily involve profiling?
No, I don't think it does. It doesn't mean that any individual of particular faith or background or ethnicity is more prone to doing this.